Hey there, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, kindly hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. So when we upload contents, you will be the first to see them. Today we will be looking at one of our all-time favorite movie. Yes, you got it. The Lord of the Rings. This is a movie many of us have seen lots of times. I in particular saw it more times than I can count. Well, that is because it's a great masterpiece. So we will be reviewing this movie trilogy, so sit back and enjoy with me. J.R.R. Tolkien, arguably one of the greatest, most detailed and imaginative writers of all time, The Hobbit book is actually my all-time favorite book, so it makes sense for me. And you get this Hobbit with the voice of an angel belting out one of the most iconic songs in film history. Whilst this dickhead is munching on some chicken and his son rides off into battle to face an army of orcs. That sounds cool, right? But obviously we've all watched Lord of the Rings. We've seen how it actually looks and sounds and feels. Oh my God, it's the most poetic thing ever. How? Mastery of one's craft. That's how. On a thematic level, this is a story of friendship and connection above all else. A story of people from all over the place of different backgrounds and beliefs coming together to help one another and embarking on the adventure of a lifetime united by a cause, a singular cause, but also by a shared level of willpower, resilience, and determination. What better message is there? What idea more powerful and timeless than that of human connection in trying times? And all this in a film series with elves and dwarf arguing over kill counts, and one of them does this elephant take down, and the messages and themes still come through more clearly than the political Oscar bait film movies we get today. That still only counts as one. I just had to kill a lot of people. Those characters, some of the greatest, most iconic characters to ever grace fiction. Without question, the greatest trio in film history. Sean Bean's most iconic death character may be tied with Ned Stark, one of the most wholesome mentor-type characters to ever grace the silver screen. Perfectly realized protagonist with enough poise but also enough space to also be corrupted whilst maintaining likability. You got Fadden King, like Fadden King. Cate Blanchett rocks up for a bit and does some cool stuff. The character that started off the motion capture trend, one of the most dynamic and unique performances of all time, thanks to Andy Serkis. This Harvey Weinstein orc thing. The orc with the mini Lego skull on its head, which to this day, I still don't know if that's a man or a woman. This top bloke who couldn't hold his bow and single-handedly kickstarted Helm's Deep. The script supervisor who did such a precise job that Orlando Bloom elbows this guy at the exact same moment in both the wide shot and the close-up, leading to one of the coolest, most slept-on edits in the entire trilogy. I know it's not a character, but they deserve to be one. Irwin, who does more for female characters in big tentpole blockbusters and all of these lot combined. And of course, the single greatest best friend in all of the film, Samwise Gamgee. Personally, I see him as the heart of the entire trilogy. And it is ultimately his perseverance, his undying hope in the face of desolation, his faith in people, and his inability to give up during the darkest of moments that make these films shine so damn rightly. Sean Astin, thank you. If Mjolnir existed on Middle-earth, Sam would be the first to lift it. Now, for this section, I usually talk about how the film inspired me to be a filmmaker, blah blah, whatever, of course. And of course, this trilogy has absolutely played a role in my growth and approach to my job, my love for films and filmmaking. The Return of the King, fun fact, was the first ever film I ever saw in cinema, so it's a pretty awesome movie to have as my first ever set in my experience. Apparently, I was dead quiet the entire time. Didn't cry once, didn't make any noise, was so mesmerized by the entire thing that I shut my mouth as a toddler and didn't make a single noise. But that aside, what I really want to talk about on this section briefly, since its effect on me has been made pretty clear at this point, is the trilogy's effect on pop culture and social media and the internet as a whole. Because we live in a world where a lot of fandoms are typically filled up by mostly toxic idiots who don't really know what the hell they're talking about, and quite frankly ruin the experience for everyone else. The Lord of the Rings franchise, however, probably has the best set of fans because they know they're the best. Even the Hobbit film is pretty good, especially if you pay attention to the craft and the acting. It's a really great set of movies. Although there is some disagreement I see on the internet regarding this series of films, it's always conducted in a very intelligent, interesting, and respectful way. This is something I think other fan bases can seriously take from, especially those Star Wars fans. I am one of them as well, but still, The only real disagreement or debate amongst Rings fans is which of these three films is the best. And although personally, I believe they're all equally good and there is no objective right answer, I would love to weigh in on what my personal favorite is and why. So I think Return of the King is the best one. This is because I believe it to be an amalgamation of the best elements of the first two films. Fellowship is in many ways the best one because I believe that once they leave Rivendell, the movie is literally flawless. It is this quest movie through and through, and a perfect one of that. My only thing is that the opening chunk is a bit slow. And then you move into Two Towers, which is what I like to call the connective tissue movie. It picks up from Fellowship and sets up Return of the King. If you take out Helm's Deep, in my opinion, I would say that it is quite clearly the weakest one, especially if you watch it on the extended edition, which is the only way to watch these films, by the way. On the extended edition, there is some filler, but I think it's really fun filler, and I don't mind. I'm just nitpicking here. But yes, for me, if you take out Helm's Deep, it feels like the Age of Ultron of the trilogy in that it exists to elevate the other two movies in a way. I know that a lot of people will disagree with me, but that's just my opinion. Then you go into Return of the King, which for me is the best one because its only real responsibility as a movie is to end the trilogy. The rest of the 4 hours and 20 minutes or whatever, it's just freedom. And so they really go all out. No emotional stone is left unturned. No set-piece moment is shortchanged. Every scene, every fight, every conversation is the best possible version of itself and then so. This is, in my opinion, as good as films are going to get. And in case you're wondering what some of my favorites are from this series, aside from which one is my favorite film of the three, let me list some of them for you to close out the video. My favorite character is Legolas. Favorite scene, Riders of the Rohirrim. Favorite fight scene, aside from Helm's Deep, because that's the best one, the Fellowship versus the Goblins, and that in Moria. Favorite character moment, Baronia's redemption. Favorite moment that gets me close to tearing up, but not quite because I've still only cried in one movie ever. Gandalf and Iroh charging down and bringing the light at Helm's Deep. Favorite non-action, non-character moment, the lighting of the beacons. Favorite storyline, Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas. Favorite villain, Saruman, but also the Weinstein Orc. Favorite death, Aldi. Because he looks like the guy who he realized he drank way too much of Priest and is now about to chowder right after arriving at the club. Favorite shot, can't choose one, there's too many options. Favorite theme piece of music, can't choose one, there's too many options. Favorite line? I thought I'd die fighting side by side with an elf. What about side by side with a friend? I could do that. And also honorable mention to Paul Tate-Taz. And finally, favorite moment that inspired me as a filmmaker and I've drawn from in all my work. That's a trick question. It's the entire bloody trilogy because Lord of the Rings, say it with me, is a masterpiece. Alright, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video and of cause, see you in the next one. Bye.